Hey, everybody. Welcome to the GMI Rocket Show. Today's episode 133. I'm your host, Roman Zelichenko, former immigration attorney turned entrepreneur. I am the co-founder and CEO of Laborless, an immigration tech platform that automates H-1B visa compliance, and the founder of GMI Rocket, a digital marketing agency for the immigration mobility industry, and which brings you this show. I'm really excited for our conversation today. We're talking to Michael Brunman, who is the CEO and co-founder of a company called Clerx with an X, Clerx. So Clerx is an AI-powered intake and reception company that helps law firms and particularly a lot of immigration law firms, but other law firms too, with AI-powered intake. So it helps the law firm not miss phone calls and not miss, individuals reaching out. It speaks and understands multiple languages, and it helps with some of the operational things that oftentimes result in clients effectively not going with a law firm. I mean, how many clients have reached out to a firm and not heard back, or didn't hear back quickly enough, and by then they've already reached out to somebody else? Things like that often hurt clients or law firms' retention of new clients. And it's got nothing to do with how good a firm is or anything like that. Oftentimes, it's just speed and accuracy with the response. So Clerx solves that. I'm really excited to talk to Michael about the product. Before we do, I want to give a quick and a warm thank you to the main sponsor of this episode, 8 a.m. DocketWise. DocketWise and their whole family of companies have rebranded to 8 a.m. So 8 a.m. DocketWise is an end-to-end immigration case management platform that provides best-in-class immigration forms, really customizable questionnaires, industry-leading integrations, including with my company, Laborless. Really great customer service. They're an awesome team. I've known them for many years. They actually started, they were my first episode ever on the show back when I did not know what I was doing with this show. So, and I know their team quite well. Another thing I love about DocketWise is they have a lot of great content for the industry. So, they have a podcast as well. They have a really great blog. They have ebooks, and they support efforts like this show to help bring additional information to the industry. So, huge thank you to them. If you are interested in learning about DocketWise, whether you need a full case management platform or maybe you're using something else and you want forms platform, because DocketWise, their bread and butter is forms, immigration forms. Check them out. There's a link in the show notes, or visit 8am.com/DocketWise. And if you do, tell them that you heard about them from the GMI Rocket Show. So with that, I'm really excited to bring on Michael. So Michael, thank you so much for being here and excited for this conversation.
Thank you. Happy Friday, Roman. How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy Friday. It was nice to finally meet you in person at a recent conference, but we've been connected for a little bit. And, there are a lot of AI platforms coming out today, especially in the immigration space, but, potentially more broadly in legal, that focus on drafting, right? Which is great. What's really cool about what you've seemed to build is that it actually focuses on supporting law firms before they even get the case, before they get started, right? It helps them bring that client in. So really excited to learn about it. Before we dive into all of that, I love to get the background story of the guests on the show. I think it's really exciting and interesting to know, how did people get to where they are today? What is their journey? So let's start with you. You immigrated here, but you grew up in Israel. You studied law and actually software engineering. You are both a lawyer and a software engineer. When you were a kid, just were you kind of entrepreneurial? Did you sell stuff and wash people's cars for money, like that kind? Or were you really studious? Like, what kind of kid were you? What do you remember about that?
Wow. I would always love to take a group of people and, do something, like have an idea, let's just execute it. I think that I love execution. I remember in kindergarten that I kind of we had a group of friends and we created a bakery. We sold sand, challahs, and bread for other people in the kindergarten. That was my initiative, and it was fun. um,
Made of sand, like at the beach, sand.
yeah,
Uh,
no, the beach at the kindergarten, there was like,
yeah. Oh,
the
yeah.
backyard there. So we would bake it with like mud, and then
Yeah.
we'll sell it for, other people's like toys or stuff like that.
Uh,
Yeah, that was at the age of 4. So that's like my first business that I started, I think.
that's so funny. Do you remember, like, did your friends do it with you? Were they like bakers, quote unquote, with you, or was it just you doing it by yourself? Like, what do you remember? Because that's really, I mean, 4 years old, and you had the initiative and the idea to do this. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, again, like you're 4 years old, and you have limited resources, right? It's just what out there in the backyard, and we were bored, and I was like, okay, let's just like we always love to play with mud there. And yeah, I just took my two closest friends, and then we started just like baking those challahs together, and yeah, and
So
then
cool.
others joined us. I think that if you're doing something fun, like it's contagious and people
Mhm.
want to join. So it's always, if you bring good energies, I think it brings people closer to you. I think that's also true in business today. If you lead a business, if you're an interesting person, you're doing something interesting, people are drawn to you. That's really helpful. And I just really enjoy engaging with other people. I feel like even today, if I have like a free time, I'll just like think, oh, who I haven't like talked with recently. Whether it's even calling my mom and dad, that they live in Israel. So I love to stay in touch with them and be very social. I think that's something that was always very important for me.
Yeah, that's so great. I was very much the opposite. I was a quite shy kid when I was little. And actually, as I was growing up, I was very aware of this. Like, I was aware that I was nervous to like talk to new people and say hi to kids that I didn't know. Took me a long time and a lot of work to get comfortable, I guess, with myself, really, right? In order to be able to talk to people, talk to strangers, come up to them, etc. Now I can't even imagine a life where I was shy, being shy and not being able to talk to people. So that's why I love asking this question. Some people like me were shy and didn't have it, maybe didn't have or didn't feel comfortable kind of having ideas when they were little. Other kids like you, like, boom, 4 years old. Hey guys, I'm gonna bake challah. Who wants to bake with me? It's like incredible to see that kind of a personality. So as you were growing up, did you have, because I know you ended up studying, of course, at university, and before you came to the U.S., and we'll obviously get to that for your MBA. But I know you studied again first computer science, then law. Those are two quite different, fields. Yes, people do both, but they're sort of opposite sides of the brain, maybe, or just different career paths. Um, do you remember, was any one of them kind of something you always wanted to do? Like when you were in middle school, high school, did you see, like, Israel has a lot of high tech companies, and engineering is something that's quite popular. Is that something that you saw that maybe motivated you to do that? Like, what was some of your decision making early on in terms of what you wanted to do with your career?
Right. So when I look back, I think there are two things, right? There's one, opportunities that life gives you, and two, the opportunities that you create yourself. So for me, basically, when I got to high school, there was a software engineering program, which was the most like prestigious program in town. So it was kind of natural for me to try and get in, and I got in, and it was great to start building things yourself. I think that coding and when I was in high school, building websites was the cool thing, right? We didn't have like mobile phones, so you can suddenly do stuff that other people can use. Like I think it's another way to engage with people, right? Like, okay, what do you want me to build? Like what kind of needs do you have? What would be cool? And then you can actually do that. I think that was also always something I like doing, like building, and so it was kind of natural for me to go to that path. And when later after high school, when I was offered to join Amram, which is like the one of the best communication software units in the idea, it was great. I continued to build. I did some financial systems and HR systems. So it was really, really cool. And I was also offered an opportunity to study the bachelor degree in computer science while I was serving the military.
Oh wow.
So it was a great opportunity. I will say that since I think I was 6, not 4 like the previous story, but since I was 6, people told me that I'll be a lawyer because I would love to debate and argue. And I had this feeling, a lot of lawyers think they are right and they will argue with you for that. So I think I
Yeah.
had that in me from a very young age. So I was always told that I'll end up a lawyer, and they were right. So even while I was in the military and I was offered to go and study while serving, I was like checking if I can do a law degree, but it wasn't
Hmm.
possible. So for me, I said, okay, let's just do computer science because again, it's opportunity the life gives you. I'll take advantage of it. But the moment I graduated from computer science school, and I was still very passionate about law and what it can do. And in computer science school, I was part of the debate club,
Hmm.
and 95% of the people in the debate club were from the law school. So I thought that taking my passion for debating and was like the obvious next step would do another bachelor degree in law. In Israel, it's 3.5 years, and it's a bachelor. You don't need to go to college before. It's like that's what you do. And then after you graduate from law school, you do 1 year or 1.5 years of clerkship, and then you go through the bar exam. So it's a total journey of 5 years, I would say. And for me, there was this moment when I said, okay, do I just want to have a law degree or do I actually want to practice? And I remember my mom, she told me, my Jewish mom, an old mother wants a lawyer or a medical doctor. So she said, you've done all that, or you're not going to actually be a lawyer in practice. So it was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Right.
sense. Let's give it a go. And I did. I went to a big law. I did commercial litigation, a lot of class actions, which was really cool. I really like it. And I work with like amazing companies. And I've had the opportunity to do pro bono, which I would say is the thing that I'm the most proud of from this work. I think that what drew me to law was justice. We all have different perception of what justice is. It's a very subjective thing, right? If you look at the Supreme Court one day, in 100 years, they will look at justice very differently.
Mm.
So for me, the passion for justice and helping the ones who need it, in that pro bono case, it was like really the peak of my like lawyering. I thought, wow, I really made a difference. Like I changed someone's life for the better. It's something that's truly meaningful for them, which is something I really appreciate about immigration lawyers. They help dreams come true, right? They enable others live their life in the way they want to live, and it's not always easy, right? It's like it's a big journey.
Yeah. And, especially when, I mean, I don't know if your pro bono case was an immigration case, but a lot of people in the US, even if they do corporate law or commercial, whatever, any kind of other kind of law, oftentimes they do pro bono immigration cases just because there's such a need. And those cases are, yes, sure, if you can help somebody live a life that they want to live, but a lot of times it's just helping them escape. I mean, as a refugee or violence, domestic abuse, et cetera, as an immigrant. So, that humanitarian work is it's even more. I mean, when I was still in law school, my first real kind of quote unquote case that I worked on was through an asylum clinic at our school, and we helped a Russian young man who was escaping because he was an actor, and people associated him with like anti regime activism, and like people get jailed there and beaten up there, and here's this person sitting across from me. I mean, the actual person we're helping telling us these stories, and it was so powerful. um yeah, so I totally agree with you, and I always wanted to work in finance in corporate setting, so it was interesting to move to immigration and to sort of realize that you can go to work and feel really, really great about it on a daily basis. Um, you finished your tech, bachelor's. You did go on to practice, or you went on to graduate with your bachelor's of law. I guess you did your internship, right? You passed the bar, and then you were practicing as an attorney in Israel, right?
Right.
What kind of law did you practice? What was your experience as an attorney?
So again, I did commercial litigation.
Yeah.
So a lot of class actions. That was our expertise in our department and my law firm. And back in the days, I think it was the seventh biggest in Israel. Then they merged to be the third biggest one in Israel. Now they're the number one in
Nice.
Israel. So it was really great. We had some amazing people there and amazing mentors that I have until today. And it was great. It was, big law. You do, especially as a young associate, you basically help others, right? Like you help, you write the first draft, you do the legal research, a lot of the stuff that actually AI is doing today, right?
Yeah.
But I always looked at the courtroom. That's what drew me to litigation. I always wanted to come and argue, my case. And I felt a little frustrated in big law, knowing that it will take me years and years to be the partner who's going to speak at the court. So I went to a boutique, one of the most leading intellectual property litigation firms in Israel. So it was a much more intimate settings when there was a few senior partners. There were 5 clerks and me as like the mid, not mid management, but like as a senior associate. So it was great to have more influence on the case. And, it's not just the first draft, the second draft, we're managing, people there. I felt really empowered working in a boutique law firm. And also today, like our clients are either solo practitioners or they have a small to mid-size law firms where they do a lot. They do really a lot. And I feel like for associates and lawyers and later like partners, there's a lot of influence they can have and at an early stage of their career, which is something that I really like. So I have an experience being like, a small part of something huge or a meaningful part of something that's much smaller. I guess we all have our preferences.
Yeah, and you know what? Having both experiences is great. I think there's a lot to learn from large organizations, how to organize data, how to structure things, HR. I mean, some small companies are great, but then you look at them and they're a mess internally because they just don't have any structure. So I think there's really some benefits to both sides. So you practice as a lawyer, first at a big firm, then at a boutique. At what point did you start to think about coming to the US? Because this is your whole career still in Israel. There's a part 2. When you come to the US, you go to business school, you do all this other stuff. When did that conversation, because that's a big deal. I mean, you grew up there, your life is there, your family's there, your friends. What was the story of you ending up in America?
So I would say that so when my grandma and grandfather passed away, in their will, they actually wrote that they would be very happy and honored if we will use their savings to go abroad and expand our education. And they listed like the UK, the US, and that was very touching. Like I was always trying to be the best in school. I always loved learning, so it wasn't. So for me, it's obvious. I feel like the best years of my lives are in school because you meet so many people, you learn something new every day. It's so engaging. Like really, I love it. And reading what they wrote, I was really touched, and it made me think about that. But it's not that I did anything immediately. But then I saw one of my friends from law school in Tel Aviv. He was walking, and I was like, "Oh, Daniel, what's going on? Just catching up." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm about to graduate Yale Business School." And I was like, what? I didn't know it's like really possible, and said that he can get a scholarship and, you know, the GMA. He like in 2 minutes, he explained everything he has done. I was like, oh, wow, that's actually doable. I didn't think it's really doable to do that. I thought it's like beyond my reach financially, and even like with, you know, the demands. So I think having someone in your life that kind of like shows you that it's possible, it's really great. And in the big law firm that I worked for, there were a few lawyers who did their JD in the US. So I also knew that's possible too. I was considering doing a JD myself. I was also considering, you know, going to academia and maybe being a law school professor. But the MBA, eventually decided to go for the MBA because I felt that to be a better lawyer, I'm not sure that I need another law degree, especially after practicing it. I know that real life and academia are two different things. So you can do it for your soul because you enjoy learning and love learning. And one day I might do my JD or be a law professor or something else, or maybe entrepreneurship professor. But I felt that for me to do this transition to the US, the MBA would be a great path to know more people, like expand my network and scale the impact that I want to have. I felt that as a lawyer, I have impact one client at a time. But if you start a business, especially with my tech background, knowing that with tech you can scale your impact and taking this business element, you know, you have to make a profit if you want to have a business, right? So taking all those 3 points like tech, law, and business, Harvard was the perfect opportunity. I was really, really happy that they accepted me. When I started this journey, I didn't think it's possible. I feel like you have to believe in yourself before you actually do it. And I think sometimes that's the hardest part. I'm sure there are many people who would have been great and would have got accepted, but they never put themselves out there. And the one last piece on the US, when the US has a lot of resources and money, and now living both in Israel and in the US, I would just say I learned life is not fair. Life is not fair. The resources and the opportunities that people get in this country are tremendous. And in Israel, we also have opportunities, but they're not at this size, at this scale. And it's also true for so many other places in the world, right? So if you can make it, now I moved to New York and I tell myself, wow, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. And I kind of feel like it's true. I feel like we've all came to the US with dreams at different stages of time. Some people came here 400 years ago. Some people came here 100 years ago. People who, I don't know, escaped the Nazis to get here. We all have our stories. Again, like immigration, right? You help someone's dream come true. So for me, even if I was in my 30s, you're actually like, you're a human being, right? You're a person in your 30s. People move here when they're 16, 20, or 25. And for me, moving here with my husband was an opportunity to really enjoy education, like higher education, and having the opportunity to work with really amazing people and a lot of resources. And I see it also for our startup. Being in the US really helps, especially if you want to be close to your clients. And being in the conference where I met you in person, right? If I would have lived still in Israel, we'd probably never meet.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. And, I say this a lot. America is not perfect. There's things happening in the news all the time. But I think of all the countries in the world, and I say this also as an immigrant, although I didn't grow up. We came from the Ukraine. I was small. I don't remember anything. I was 2 when we left. But knowing what life was like, even though this country is not perfect, I think it's the best country out there in terms of what's possible for people, in terms of the opportunities that you get, as you said. So that's part of why I love being in this industry too, right? To hear those kind of stories. So you moved here. What year did you move here, by the way?
In 2021.
2021. So you came to the US 2021. You entered Harvard Business School. you didn't. We talked about this earlier. You didn't come on an F1. You came on a J2.
J1, and my
J1.
husband was on J2.
Got it. So you were the principal kind of beneficiary of the visa. He came on a J2. Why? Do you know why it was a J2 rather than an F? Was there any particular reason for it that you can share? I'm just curious.
Yeah, sure. Well, immigration is something you have to be really like strategic and really understand all your options. So for me, it was a no-brainer that if I'm going to the US, I need to find a solution for Gal, my husband, because he needs to work. I'm not asking for someone to move to the US for us, without having a plan. So if I would be on an F1 and he would be on F2 as my husband, he would not be able to work. So getting the J1 for me was super important. Like I looked for all ways possible to make sure that he will be happy when we move. It's very hard to be an immigrant, and especially, I mean, I got through the front door, you can say, right? Like through like Harvard Business School, and I get a visa and work, but I want to be super mindful about my husband's happiness and how he will experience here. And having the J2, once we got it, it was like such a huge relief to know that he can have work. But as having a visa that allows you to work doesn't mean that it's easy to find a job, right? It's hard for anyone to find a job, and I think that there is some level of discrimination about for people with visas. So yeah, it's a journey, but you still have to have this number one piece to get your visa, to allow yourself to put yourself out there in the market.
Yeah, and I think you make a really good point. This is a broader kind of global mobility point, but a lot of times international work assignments, so you came here to study, but think about all the companies that send their employees abroad for months, sometimes years to work. A lot of those assignments fail because their spouse and or family members just, it's not for them because they can't acclimate, they can't work, they don't find a place where they fit in, etc. So it's really, really smart that you were able to think about this, and amazing that you got the J1 so that your husband could get a J2, and then he can work or at least have the option to work. This is actually a really good time for me to pause and say thank you to the second sponsor of the show, Lawfully, because as you guys were, applying for your J1, J2 visa, this was before Lawfully existed, but you had to be tracking the status of the case, status of the visa application. So Lawfully actually started as a mobile app to help individuals and families track their own immigration cases. To date, they've actually helped over 2.5 million people track over 6 million cases. And then last year in 2024, they found that they had users that were tracking like hundreds or thousands of cases. And it turns out those users were legal professionals, so law firms, lawyer, paralegals, etc. So Lawfully actually ended up launching something called Lawfully Pro, which helps immigration law firms as well as in-house mobility teams and nonprofits stay on top of all their cases across USCIS, NVC, DOL, EOIR, and then of course address case status questions better when their clients have questions. So Lawfully works with over 120 organizations, from small law firms to mid-sized firms, nonprofits, etc., with Lawfully Pro. So for folks who have clients that track cases, which is everybody, every law firm, check them out. There's a link in the notes for the show, and of course the website is www.lawfully.com. If you talk to them, tell them you heard about them from the GMI Rocket show. So thank you to Lawfully. I know that Lawfully didn't exist at the time, but you got your visa and you're here. You graduated from Harvard Business School, which is, I hope that your grandparents would be proud, because that is an amazing accomplishment, not just to study abroad and expand your horizons, but to do so at one of the top institutions of the world. You're now a lawyer. You have a degree in computer science. You just graduated with an MBA. You go on to work in tech for a couple of years, right? You work at PayPal. and then you went over to McKinsey, which is famous firm, management consulting. They solve all sorts of problems. I mean, the people that work there, as far as I know, work on really interesting and things and in industries that they may have never even heard of or thought about, and suddenly they have to solve these problems. So to the extent that you can, I mean, obviously I know McKinsey is kind of more of a secretive firm, but to the extent that you can, like, what did you take away from that position, from that role? The jobs you did, the clients you worked for, the type of work that you did, knowing that you have this background already. What was McKinsey a new learning opportunity, a stepping stone? Like, what did you take away from that?
Wow. That's interesting. I think the opportunities when you work at McKinsey, it's like a management consulting firm. I worked at the Boston office, and I served a lot of like tech companies, insurance companies, banks, retailers. You get a huge diversity in your work, which when I practiced law, so I did, for example, commercial litigation, I did class actions. So things are kind of repetitive, you have like big clients that are kind of similar to one another, and you're doing, though every case is different, but you still spend a lot of time on a case, right? A litigation case could take years, right? So what I loved, and one of the reasons I joined McKinsey, was you get to work with incredible people. But I had to work in a law too and tech. But your work is so diverse, and every project that we do, it's different, right? So you work with different people. Again, I really love working with new people and getting to know them. And you learn new technologies, new strategies every day. I feel like, as I mentioned earlier, I really love learning. And I felt that McKinsey was a natural continuation of business school, where you put what you learn into practice, and you work with stakeholders that are super, super senior. So that was also really exciting to see how things work, and thinking of skills. So solving a problem, right? Looking at it from top down, like how you break a problem into smaller problems, and then you divide and conquer. And how do you work efficiently as a team? Like we would be small teams at McKinsey, and we all have our roles, responsibility. I think that in law, I didn't have a lot of engagement with my teammates. I would say you get, someone's telling you to do something, and then you do it. You send a draft, and you send another draft. In McKinsey, it will be more of like real teamwork. I would say that we each contribute our piece, and then we all look at the big picture. So I think overall it's a great experience, and I met great friends, and clients that I worked with. It was really amazing. But I think everywhere I go, the things that matters most to me are the relationships that I have. And I think that also in McKinsey, what I've seen, the people who succeeded the most, right? The senior partners of McKinsey, the best ones of them, they know how to talk with people, how to be engaged, and give value that's beyond just like, okay, we have a nice presentation. I feel our clients love to feel heard, and that there's someone's there for them. Companies pay a lot of money for McKinsey. McKinsey brings a lot of value, but at the end, it's the people who buy, a project from other people, right? So I think for me, one of the biggest lessons was be a person first when you talk with someone, understand who they truly are, and generally be interested in them. Like for me, it comes very naturally, and it will help you, because if someone feels like you're truly there to help them, they'll be more patient, more empathetic for you, more open to the ideas that you bring to the table. So yeah, overall, great experience. And I recommend everyone who wants to kind of have like a great start to their career. I think it's great after college. I think it's a little different experience if you're a seasoned professional. And work is very intense, so it's not for everyone. But if you like that environment, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Always happy to help and connect people who are interested to learn more about that.
That's awesome. And I know there are so many instances of ex McKinsey or ex management consulting people starting their own businesses, right? Because you see what's going on across different industries, and then you're solving problems for these organizations. And maybe the thought may be, well, let me solve a problem through my own company. So how did, this would be a good way transition for me to ask you, how was the idea of what became Clerx born? Because at this point, you're not working as an attorney anymore. You're working in management consulting. Yes, you worked with immigration lawyers or lawyers in general on your journey to the U.S., but you're not practicing as a lawyer anymore. What sort of inspired you to say, wait a minute, there's this problem that I've encountered, and I think I may have a solution. How did that all come about?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think that basically my own personal experience as a lawyer, when I think of our secretaries at the firm, I have a vivid memory of the secretary of the manager of the department in the big law. She had two phones because again, Clerx AI helps streamline incoming calls and outbound calls. So everyone who calls a law firm, existing client, potential new client, we're handling it end to end and scheduling everything in your CRM or calendar. So right before AI had the abilities to be conversational and do that, so everyone will pick up the phone. And the head secretary, which I really loved, we were very close, she would always be super, super busy and super, there was the amount of pressure that she had in her job was so high because she was reporting directly to the managing partner. And people always ask her questions, whether in person or they call. And she would get so many calls a day. And I remember her talking to someone on the phone, she picks up the phone, and then she had another phone when she would just say, hey, thank you for calling, Eagle or None, hold it for a minute. And I was like, this is impossible. Like how she can do high value tasks, because answering the phone is not the core of her job, right? She has so many other things to do. So that moment kind of went on with me as I'm thinking, okay, legal writing and like all other legal work, that's fun. I mean, as a lawyer, I really liked it. Like, I don't know what lawyers think about, Harvey or ChatGPT writing their, the cover letters or the arguments. I think that we all went to law school to do law, right? So I thought, okay, that one's covered. But what about operations? What about all the amazing people that are working with us as attorneys to make the magic happen? So we started talking with a lot of lawyers, taking this moment that I had in my mind, like asking him, how do you manage it? Like, if you get so many calls today, like, what are you doing? And people just, we miss calls. Like 33% of calls to lawyers are just missed calls. And usually when you reach out to a lawyer, if you actually picked up your phone, it means you really need them, right? There's like, you said it very nicely in the beginning. And it's whether it's like immigration case that someone, found you on Google and is now calling, they're probably going to call the next lawyer if you're not going to pick up the phone. But I also understand that admin teams are drowning sometimes with calls, especially in those uncertain times for many families, right? So the demand for immigration attorneys and many other practices, but mainly immigration attorneys, have skyrocketed. So I took what I thought, is a burning problem. I validated it before, because you don't want to build something before, you actually know people are interested. Like when I was 4 years old, selling those, selling the Hanas, it was a game. But now, leaving McKinsey to start my own company, I wanted to be sure that I'm doing something that people want and will use. So
how did you validate the idea?
Yeah.
How did you validate the idea?
So it was first talking to many people and see, how they react. So because I knew I had like this own, experience, personal experience, which is great for entrepreneurs. And then you want to show it to others and say, does it resonate? Like how does, or even take a step back, I would, before I'll show them the product, I would talk with them about their days, like there are playbooks of how you do those discovery calls, right? You don't want to put something in someone's mouth. You want to talk about their day to day, see what's top of mind for them, like on what are they spending monies, on what problems they're trying to solve. And for calls, there are a lot of solutions before AI. There are like call centers and virtual receptionists, and people will just hire more and more people, like admin staff, instead of focusing on the current admin staff they have and giving them the right tools. We also heard that finding a good receptionist or intake manager is hard. And it could be, let's say one client told me, when I looked for an attorney, it took me 2 months, and then I found like a really good attorney. But when she was talking about receptionists, she switched 6 receptionists in a year before she found someone. And that someone, she's also drowning with calls. And when we brought Clerx, so she had her secretary, and we would also take all the extra calls that it was just impossible to keep up. Some firms really get hundreds and some get thousands of calls a month. So this was a great validation. And the best validation is that someone's actually taking their credit card and paying you, right? Because I think many startups, they have an idea of what a problem could be and what a solution could be. And it's really hard. It's really hard to get someone to pay for a solution that it might not be perfect yet. But that worked for us pretty quickly. So it validated my hypothesis about the problem. And as for the solution, it's just having, like today we have like thousands of calls that we run every month. So that's like the validation when you hear clients, the law firm's clients engage with Donna, our AI receptionist. You're saying, wow, that's amazing. Like my head secretary back in the big law, when she had the 2 phones, she doesn't have to do it anymore. She can just follow up and with a summary. So she will be less stressful. As for me also, when I was like, I thought this job is very stressful too. But I think the other tools that AI that are out there that are helping lawyers to get back their time. Like if I can help a lawyer or someone at their admin team to work 5 hours less a week and spend time with their loved ones, that's huge. That's really huge. And also when the law firm's clients are happier, right? Because they get an immediate response and they can talk with someone like the AI agent, and the problem is solved. That's also like very, very rewarding.
So tell me a little bit about how Clerx works, because I think we kind of walked around it a little bit, but I think it's a good time to say, I'm a lawyer. I'm listening to this. I'm watching this right now. This sounds interesting. I have a lot of phone calls that I'm missing, or my secretary or admin team is swamped. This sounds cool. What does Clerx do? What does it mean to me as a lawyer?
Yeah. So as a lawyer, and again, most of our clients are immigration attorneys, personal injury, family law, estate planning, real estate law firms. So basically the ones who are serving real people like you and me, not corporations, and they get a lot of phone calls. I would say if someone has a lot of missed calls, we have clients who have 33%, we have clients who have 66%.
Wow.
We connect to your phone line, so you don't need to switch your phone number of your firm. And basically, we take the phone call and we tailor it the way you do it today. So if, for example, your receptionist is saying A, B, and C, and is doing C, D, and E, like scheduling, taking payments, forwarding the call, all of that, we just do it in our AI and software. So we sync to CRMs like obviously MyCase, Clio, Lomatics, all the big ones. And when we talk with a client, we ask them, how do you want it to be saved on your system? How do you want the call to go? What languages do you speak, right? So we make sure that every agent is tailored, every Donna is tailored to every firm. For some clients, Donna starts to speak in Spanish because 99% of the clients are Spanish speaking, right? So it's overall, imagine it's a new person in your team, but Donna, she never churns, she's never sick, she works 24/7, she speaks in the way you want her to speak. We can choose her voice, we can choose the greeting, we can choose the qualifying question, right? Many people are free advice seekers. So you want to qualify before you speak with a lawyer, right? Before you schedule a consultation, you want to make sure you can actually help that person. So it's overall very comprehensive solution for intake and basically scheduling and payments, everything that a regular receptionist can do, but 24/7 in multilingual support. We have Turkish, Mandarin, Portuguese, English, Spanish, more than 35 languages. So it's very appropriate and timely, I would say, for immigration firms that they have a lot of calls these days. And especially, it's not easy to find a good receptionist who speaks all of those languages. So with AI, it just, we have 48 hours and Donna is ready for your firm, tailored for your needs. And Eldar, my CTO, and we keep in touch with our clients. So every feedback that we get from them, we tailor the conversation. So it's ever evolving, ever getting better product for them.
So the idea would be that I call the law firm, and let's say they're using Clerx. Somebody quote unquote picks up, but it's actually your AI. It's Donna. Does Donna announce herself as a bot, as an AI agent?
So it depends what our client wants, right? So basically, some firms prefer that Donna would say, "Hi, this is Donna, the AI receptionist of Brunman Law," on a recorded line, for example, right? You can choose if you want her to say that she's an AI receptionist or not. You can choose if you want, it's like a dual consent, for recording. Does she say it's a recorded line or not? Do we want to record it? So the client has complete flexibility. As the regulation is still evolving about, what AI should say or not, right? So we don't yet need to say anything. We just do it as the client wants. The client has the power.
And then I say, "Hi, Donna. I want to continue." I say, I'm from the Ukraine and I want to come study in Harvard University, and I want to figure out what visa I qualify for. What does Donna do? Donna says, "Here's what you qualify for. At a high level, please set up a consultation for more." Does Donna not give any information whatsoever and says, "Great, we can help you with that. Set up a and then." So I'm trying to walk through it. I'm trying to imagine it and hopefully help somebody who's listening imagine it too. What could they expect to have? How that conversation would go between your AI receptionist or agent and then a prospective client?
Right. So great question. Basically, if someone is calling, right, about a legal matter, right, if it's a prospective new client, what Donna will do is she will only qualify that it's relevant for the practice, right? If the immigration firm is not doing asylum, so Donna will refer the caller to another firm, right? We talk with our client, who do you want us to refer them to, right? But if it's, for example, employment law and it's an H-1B case or someone wants a green card and the attorney is doing it. So what Donna will say, "Well, I don't provide legal advice. I can connect you with our lawyer. Would you like me to schedule a consultation?" Right? And then Donna is going to look at your calendar, right? Because we're integrating into your calendar, and she would book a time. She can take the payment, or if it's a free consultation, and basically the lawyer decides what questions they want Donna to ask prior to the consultation, so you have more background before you go and do the consultation. So there are the opportunities are endless, I would say, but we don't give legal advice, right? Donna is not the AI lawyer. Donna is the AI receptionist.
So that's awesome. So basically, I would say I have this question about, let's say, H-1B, as you've gave an example. Donna says, "Yeah, we can help you that. Would you like me to schedule a call with one of our attorneys?" This is all on the phone, right? So I would say yes. And then Donna automatically looks at the attorney's calendar and would say in a voice. How about Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern next week? Something like that. I mean, is that how it would go? And then I would say yes, no, and is it conversational, or is it like, please respond yes to book, please respond no
Yeah,
to not book?
it's conversational. So that's that's what I think the big misconception about AI voice agents today. It's very far from what we know as the traditional
Yeah.
IVR. Press 0 to talk with blah blah blah. And I think
Mhm.
that's the big edge that having Donna versus having the IVR systems. We actually replace a lot of those IVR systems, so people can naturally speak with Donna, and Donna will ask like, okay, are you available? I see that next Tuesday at 8 a.m. Eastern time is available. Should we schedule? Or the client can say, hey, do you have anything on a Friday? And then Donna will go and check herself what's available. So you have the scheduling live on the call. Or it depends. Like, we can also transfer the call to, I don't know, the paralegal or the attorney. Depends on the workflow that our clients want us to build for them.
And that's part of that onboarding consultation. You said, okay, 48 hours, you're up and running. So if a law firm says, great, we want to try out Clerx, and they sign up, you then work with them through this onboarding process to understand some of the things you said earlier. Do you want your agent to say that this is an AI agent or not? Do you want them to, like, what languages do you want them to answer in? What cases do you not take? So you have this whole initial onboarding phase, right? You get, I guess, you get the information from the law firm, you set them up, and then it runs. Is that fair?
Yeah. Every client we schedule with them, one or two or three, depends how complex and what are their needs. Onboarding sessions where we understand clearly how things work today, what is not working today, right? Because they think of how to improve it, right? And then we tailor the solutions for them at our, on our side in the back end. But as for the clients, we make it crystal clear that it's like we're working shoulder to shoulder with them. Sorry. And our goal is for them to be happy. We don't connect. Sorry, we don't connect the software before our clients are happy, and it usually takes 48 hours. And then we also give 7 days free trial so they can risk-free try it. So if anyone is interested, you can go to our website, book a demo with me, and give it a go. But yeah, overall, it's a very seamless experience. I would say lawyers sometimes are a little afraid of tech, right? They're not early adopters in many things, So I feel like with conversational AI and AI agents and our product, once you listen to it, once you hear your law firm's name when Donna is speaking, people are really excited about it. And when they listen to the recordings of their clients speaking with Donna, it's also a very exciting part, And then they say, oh, you know what? I want Donna to say this and that. Can you do it for me? And it's a white glove service. We do it for them, right? Our long-term vision would be to have a dashboard they can edit it themselves if they want. But for now, we see that people really appreciate to have this impersonal relationship with the founders directly, me and Eldar. And we also enjoy it. I wish myself that I'll always have the time to engage with my clients, face to face as much as possible. That's like, I would say, my goal in life.
Yeah. Interesting. That's cool. Yeah, I'm picturing it, and that's what, thank you for the sort of the details. And it's also nice that you can customize all these things. And I'm assuming if something changes at the firm, they can continue to customize Donna. So maybe they take on a new type of case. They did not do asylum before. Now they do asylum. So instead of referring those out, now Donna can sort of change to say, yeah, sure, we can handle that. Would you like to set up a call? And Donna also takes payment over the phone, basically.
Yeah, we usually recommend doing it through, links like LawPay, or if, for example, they schedule it through a third party like Kyle and Calendly. But we can also think of other ways. If someone is processing payment in a certain way, we can do that. Or if they want to forward it to their billing manager, we support that too.
what are some of the kind of positive ROI or benefits that you've seen clients get who, have signed up with you guys?
Right. So first, you see an increase in their paid consultations, because if prior there are 33% of the calls going to voicemails, those clients, there are like qualified leads there that just didn't book a consultation with you.
Right.
So now you book those consultations. That is one. You book way more. And again, we had a client who had 66% missed calls. So
Wow.
she would really see an uptick in her consultations. And so this is one. So you grow your revenue, and especially if you pay so much for ads, you want to make sure that all those callers, they will sign with you. This is one. But also we're talking about costs. So think that if a firm has two receptionists and one of them just left, so what we saw is that they had the one who was more senior and experienced and stayed with the firm for years. And now she's using Clerx, and they don't need to find a new person, right? Because finding a new person, is like, it takes a lot of time. And then the one person that stayed kind of drowns with calls. And two, it's expensive to hire, train, retrain, and there's churn. So yeah, that is one thing that you don't need to grow your team as you grow with your call volume. So if your team, there are like, I don't know, 4 intakers and receptionists, if now you have double the work because you doubled your marketing, or like your reputation is really out there. So that's another way you grow without hiring additional people. And also people had call centers or other services that they're using, like virtual receptionists. Those are, for some firms it works, but for some others it don't. Like we see clients who much rather have Donna, because Donna can do so much more than just take a message. And Donna always follows the script. This is also great, like the lawyer is telling us what the script should be, and then Donna performs it. So this is another way people are saving costs, because they can consolidate. They have 24/7 coverage by Donna. And yeah, so signing more clients and saving, by not need to grow your team as you grow your business. You can just focus on your key personnel that are with you at the firm for years, and now they can do more with their time.
Is the pricing like per month, per call, per person? Like, how do you guys price it?
Yeah. So it's based on the call volume that the firm gets, and the level of sophistication, I would say, of what they ask us to do. So if there are more languages we need to support, more integrations, but we try to be as fair as possible, looking at their call volume, and as they grow, we charge relatively to that plan, and we grow with our clients. So that's great.
Because I was thinking, I was thinking like, no, I was gonna say, I was thinking like, imagine a lawyer posts something on TikTok or Instagram and blows up, and they get 500,000 views, 1 million views. Their phone's going to go off the hook, and they're not prepared for it. They haven't scaled that. That was an immediate kind of like, instance where suddenly this call volume goes up, and you hear about that kind of thing happening, especially when law firms are starting with social media, and they just can't handle the volume. And it's a bummer because, some people say, well, number one, it's a missed opportunity for revenue, which of course everybody, wants. But the other thing is, well, I went live, I did this TikTok, all these people have been viewing my post, and, I gained their trust through my content. Now they're calling me, no one's picking up, and they lost the trust that they gained. And they're not going to, they may not call me again because, even if they can, even if I can explain to them and say I'm so busy, it doesn't matter. They called and nobody picked up. So I was just thinking how this, and that's why I asked about pricing. If it's kind of worth for people to, I know I'm plugging you here just because I think it's a good idea, but I feel like it's worth for people to sign up. If they don't have a lot of call volume, they're not paying a lot, right? And if their call volume goes up, they're already set up and ready for the increased volume. Because if it was not volume based, let's say it was, just monthly based, they might say, okay, well, last month this made sense, but this month I didn't get many phone calls, so why am I paying? And then it's just less of an incentive. But the fact that it's call volume based, I think it's a no brainer. They should get set up and have this kind of, with their firm just to have, and obviously work towards marketing. And if something hits and you suddenly get an influx of calls, you're ready.
Yeah, and we don't do like we offer like monthly plans, and you can like cancel at any time. We don't try to lock in people. I know a lot of lawyers are afraid to try something if they need to commit for 2 or 3 years. We are, we have all our clients with us since day one. I love it, and we keep in touch and with each and every one of them. And as we grow, I try to keep and staying, have this personal touch with our clients. But yeah, that's our client success. When they succeed, we succeed. The more phone calls they get, we're happy to be there and support them. When they grow, and it's kind of natural, right? Like we all start as young lawyers, and then we have reputation, and then we find what's working for us, like marketing wise, and then you actually get to scale. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to see more and more firms that are embracing AI as they grow, as their go-to place. And I think in a year or two, there will be many lawyers that will know about this technology. They'll be super curious, and that numbers will only grow. And but people also getting used to talk with AI, right? Like it is relatively new. And it's only growing and growing.
So as we wrap up here, I'm curious, what are some of the things you're maybe working towards or looking forward to with Clerx? I mean, right now it seems like you've got a pretty great product. Is it more features? Is it more languages? Like, what are you guys working on that you can share?
So we look at the Clerx ecosystem. We want to make sure that client communication is covered. So it's either through your website. We released a new product, which is Donna Website Chat. So now you can put it on your website, and it captures all your leads, and it has all the sophistication that Donna, your AI receptionist, has. So it's the same Donna, both on the website and on your phone system. But we are also have Jeremy, and Jeremy is the intake manager. We haven't spoken about that, but basically Jeremy follows up with those leads, right? And he books the consultations. He's doing outbound calls and qualifying the leads for like a deeper, intake. For example, if an immigration lawyer has 10 or 20 questions to qualify their leads, right? So Jeremy can do that. Jeremy can also send reminders for payments. I know we all know their clients, and some of them they're not paying as on time. So basically, we're working on automation of other phone calls that firms are having in communication with clients. The ones that are the most painful, I would say. If it's like reminder before hearings, or answering general questions, or like I said, the payments. So we want to make sure that our clients, they can focus on the work that matters the most, and take what could be automated and streamlined, and let Clerx handle that. And as for our big vision, I would say that in a few years, where we want to be is that law firms that know that they want to scale and grow smarter, they know that we don't only cover their phone calls or their website. We want to make sure that every admin staff that works at the firm can use our platform to automate their work. It could be either the paralegal, the case manager, the billing manager. I feel like there are many, great systems out there, but some law firms, they prefer to work just with one. So looking ahead, we want to be a system that streamlines clients' communication, but also like all the back office operations, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So kind of like maybe a matter management or a law firm practice management tool.
Yeah, there are many great tools out there, and I think that once you build the trust and you have great communication with your clients, you can build and add things, and people can just choose what other features they're interested to have.
Yeah, makes sense. Really interesting. So as a final question, I like to ask this question as a little bit of a twist on the standard kind of what advice would you give yourself, or what advice would you give, a younger entrepreneur? So I like to flip that question and ask, what advice are you currently listening to right now? Like, what advice is feeding you right now that you're taking in and trying to take action based off of?
I would say focus, focus, focus. I feel that as a CEO and founder of a startup, there are so many things you need to juggle, and you need to prioritize all the time. So every week, I'm asking myself, what's the most important thing that I need to accomplish? And I just go from there. So
Mm,
this is one advice which was given to me, and I'm
mm,
following it. And I think that's just super important. And it takes a lot of discipline, I would say. But yeah, you can see results. Like, ask yourself, what's the most burning thing in your company right now? What's top of
mm.
mind for yourself? Right? Usually that's a question we ask our clients, like when you do a discovery for your startup. But sometimes we forget to just ask
Yeah,
ourselves.
that's interesting. Yeah, now you're making me think of what is that most burning thing right now, and am I addressing it? Right. So that's true. Um, that's awesome. That's a great answer. I like that, Michael. This was a great, wonderful conversation. Thank you. Really exciting, I think, to hear about what you've been building and to learn a bit more about Clerx. I think it's a no-brainer tool. And folks can find the company at Clerx.ai, right? So Clerx.ai.
Yes, or reach out on LinkedIn. Always happy to connect there and talk about, client communication. Reach out if you have other ideas. Yeah, and we have 7 days free trial. So if some folks are on the fence, just give it a go. Worst thing, you're just gonna get a nice conversation with me. I promise it's gonna be entertaining.
There you go. I love it. Michael, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Really appreciate you coming on the show. Happy New Year. And yeah, I'm excited to watch and follow the business. And I hope to see big things in the coming years. And I hope to see you at some more conferences too.
Thank you, Rowan. I wish you and all our listeners Shana Tova and an amazing weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it. What an awesome conversation. No brainer. I mean, from my perspective, no brainer. If you're running a law practice and you have any number of volume of phone calls coming in, and clearly now website visitors, check out Clerx. Seems like, especially with the free trial, why not check it out? And if it's volume-based pricing for the most part, I don't know. It feels like, what do you have to lose? And then, hey, you could be ready for um, a big push, a marketing push, and then getting a lot of phone calls. So great episode. Want to say again, huge thank you to 8 a.m. DocketWise as the main sponsor of this episode. So again, for those who may not have heard of DocketWise, although at this point everybody knows DocketWise, but 8 a.m. DocketWise is an end-to-end case management system for immigration law firms that have best-in-class immigration forms. Again, some people just use DocketWise for their forms if they use other tools for case and matter management, but of course they have the full suite as well. They have really customizable questionnaires for client intake with in a lot of different languages, industry-leading integrations with all sorts of platforms, including my own Laborless. Really great customer service. As I mentioned up top, DocketWise does a really wonderful job of investing back into the industry by providing content by way of a podcast, by way of a blog, ebook, supporting things like this show. They actually had a conference, the company had a conference this year, I believe, for the first time. So they're starting to put together in-person events. So, if you're in the immigration space and you have have the need for potentially a new forms tool or a new case management tool, check out DocketWise. Visit them at 8 a.m. So that's the number 8am.com/DocketWise to learn more. The link is in the show notes. And if you talk to them, tell them you heard about them from the GMI Rocket show. So with that, thank you everybody for being here, for tuning in, for listening and watching. Another wonderful episode. I'm looking forward to next Friday's episode. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend and be safe out there, and peace out.